What's up, everyone? This is Soul, and we're back for another episode of Leak Season, where I take some of the widely spread, so-called leaks that are coming out for whatever is coming next for the world of Warcraft, and then roast it, because that is what they deserve. We're going to get right into it, but of course, if you don't mind, like the video, subscribe for more content. And as we get closer and closer to the inevitable 11.0 WoW announcement, I'm going to gather more of these leaks together, and as soon as I have like a nice meaty handful to just take a dump on, I will release future episodes. So hope to see more of it, but let's get started with 2024 expansion detail dump by Keyboard Turner. No, that's not. No, that's a title. By Chaos 2024. Sorry. I was just going to post this into the 11.0 thread, but it's kind of long and I didn't want to disrupt the flow of conversation, and I'm not sure how to make the info something you can optionally expand. Apparently, there were plans to show off the next expansion at Gamescom if numbers were low and to draw in some hype for the 2024 anniversary event, but it's been pushed ahead to BlizzCon since Dragonflight is doing so well. Some of the materials were still sent in preparation for it, and a friend was able to get the info. So this has a little bit of cred. This was put out like 10 days ago. Today's the 22nd. This is the 13th. Gamescom is going on right now. And as far as we've seen, there hasn't been anything announced for WoW. I was just learning from chat that they announced the second season of Diablo 4. Whoop-de-doo. So let's get into what's going to what's good. And I'll try my best to read the whole thing and then go back and proceed with smack talking and roasting. So here we go. World of Warcraft Chaos. The goal of the Primal Incarnate ultimately was to awaken Azeroth without the influence of the different cosmic forces, which failed when Eridicon betrayed them. Now Azeroth is about to be born, and the divine and magical forces of the universe take a final stand on Azeroth to control her. However, the most powerful creatures ever known to Warcraft were never dragons, or old gods, or demons, but the heroes of Azeroth themselves. The meddling forces have corrupted, possessed, and blinded the leaders of Azeroth, and thrown the Horde and Alliance into a final war over the heart of Azeroth. This is the future so many have secretly tried to prevent. So they've tried to prevent these meddling forces from corrupting, possessing, and blinding the leaders of Azeroth, and throw the Horde and Alliance into a final war, the War of Wars, over the heart of Azeroth, which every adventurer has anyway. There are two major themes to this expansion: an Avengers-style cosmic battle where enemies and allies from across World of Warcraft's history have come to battle it out for the destiny of the world soul, and a Tides of Darkness-style Horde and Alliance conflict spurred on by the aforementioned cosmic forces. The Elemental Lords are divided. The Light, and Void, and Arcane have seized the Alliance, and Life, Death, and Fel have seized the Horde. Sweet. That is not to say that these cosmic forces are allied, but are using each other to weaken the other faction. As such, the player is only forced into this final Horde and Alliance war, and in reality are truly loyal to the Azeroth-aligned Medivh, Chen Stormstout, and Magni. What does Chen Stormstout have to do? Balance, I guess. In between fighting on their behalf to keep up appearances, the faction leaders one by one will need to be defeated, with the first raid being a battle for Lordaeron City, again, where we go up against Lich Kalia Menethil, the new Royal Apothecary Society, the Ebon Blade, and the now death-crazed Forsaken Scarlet Crusade. Since players are not truly loyal to either faction, you can choose which story you wish to follow regardless of your race. I want to comment now, but the new continent is called Crestfall and Lordaeron, and is a reworked Upper Eastern Kingdoms remake with dragon riding in mind, and a new archipelago to the west called Crestfall. There are 6 zones in total, encapsulating each core Warcraft race. Classes get some love too, with unique quests, some rewarding new specs. There's Zul'Dare, a time capsule from the Second War inhabited by ogres, goblins, forest trolls, and orcs who are still awaiting Gul'dan's orders. Is the Horde zone in this expansion and can be visited at 58 rather than the usual 70. Here, the Horde city of Dangol awaits, an orcish naval base dripping with fel. For the Alliance, there's the island of Halgoria, a land of grasslands and swamp inhabited by the diminutive halflings and their subterranean gnome cousins. The capital city of the Alliance is a Titan facility called Uldak. Uldak. Still protected by Odin's keepers, who now serve alongside the Alliance. Like Zoldyr, you can start this zone at 58. Quel'Thalas is mostly controlled by the Alliance after Ilaria and her Void forces seized the Sunwell and took over the city. Lordaeron is made up of every other Upper Eastern Kingdom zone besides Arathian hinterlands and is split between the Deathcraze Forsaken and the Lightforged Worgen. There's a lot, man. Baelor is the human and dwarf island where Turalyon and Yrel's Lightbound are stationed, and Canalite is an island colonized by the forces of the Kaldorei and Draenei, who are currently fending off the forces of life who sided with the Horde. Among the faction leaders who will need to either cure or kill in dungeons, raids, and naval scenarios, Turalyon is being mind-controlled by the alternate universe version of Zira. Tyrande has become a true vessel of the Titan Elune, and Ilaria is working directly with the Void Lords thanks to Locust Walker's guidance. Thrall's been possessed by a reborn Ragnaros. Lord Thamar was forced into a deal with the remnant forces of the Legion to save Quel'Thalas, and Bane has become infested with Botany life. Ultimately, all of WoW's big bads have a presence here. Xal'atath is back with the Silithid and the Faceless Ones. The Forsaken have practically reformed the Scourge. What? The Titans have invaded with an ordered Illidan as their champion. The Legion protects the Elven settlements in the Ghostlands, and even long-dead wild gods have been revived. Wow, this dude's smoking it hard. So this friend... So some of the materials were still sent in preparation for it, and a friend was able to get this much info. It's just called chaos. No kidding, dude. No kidding. So Azeroth's about to be born, and then pretty much like everyone shows up. Everyone shows up, and then after this expansion, Azeroth wakes up and everyone dies because the planet is naturally destroyed, or at least robbed of all of its juice or whatever. This is a great fanfic, right? This is a great fanfic. It's a fun kind of story. It's a fun dream to take a look at. This would make some great time rift bait, right? Some other cool time rift stuff where like all these different scenarios are happening, but for it to actually happen, no way, dude. We're seeing Ilaria take over the Sunwell, and I guess it becomes like a void sort of thing because but then no. If Ilaria took the Sunwell, somewhere in this text she took the Sunwell or Quel'Thalas, but then the Legion or Lord Thamar's force is getting into a deal with the Legion to save Quel'Thalas. Where is the Burning Legion? Where did they come from? How did they come back? Why the hell is is Bane in the, it's like, what about Bane? Just give him something. Yeah, just give him something. Like no sign of, let's see, Vol'jin, no sign of him. There's no sign of Belisra and like what she's up to. Any number of other faction leaders or racial leaders, just like nothing from them. This one's just a mess. This is there's like 5-6 different kinds of plots that are going on, and this dude's trying to play it off like there are two major themes to this expansion. You can't fit everything. You can't fit this into only half the expansion, or like half of the story. There's like so much going on here that nice fanfic, dude. But this is a bit too wild. Let's move on. World of Warcraft, Age of Twilight. Ooh, and this person was banned, so that means there's like credibility. Not really. Title of the expansion is as listed above, Age of Twilight. The premise is that Eridicon is helping Xal'atath to awaken Azeroth, which will in turn bait the Titans to return. Very fair. We have a lot of that foreshadowing from the end of the Dawn of the Infinite Dungeon. Cool. We'll be indeed heading for Avaloran, located west of Kalimdor. You can actually already see the continent of Avalon now on the globe, featured in the new Hearthstone Titans expansion game board. That's where they got the source. Nice research, buddy. This was an intentional Easter egg. Sorry, I'll continue. There's additional landmass here, which I do not know about. There will be a third faction introduced, although not in the same vein as the Alliance and Horde. You won't be able to select this faction on the character creation screen, but you will be able to defect to them during the expansion if you choose to. They are called the Tidesworn. They are neutral and are primarily made of privateers and mercenaries. They're pirates, basically. I do not know the benefits of joining the Tidesworn, but I assume it will involve alternate story arcs, cosmetics, mounts, and so on. The Tidesworn are headquartered at Gadgetzan, which is now vastly bigger, again going to screenshots, resembling its depiction in the Hearthstone and the Traveler book series. This will act as your major city hub should you choose to work with this faction. Avalon is home to Uldaz, the final Titan facility. Yes, there is an old god here, but this one is not like the others. This old god arrived on Azeroth before the 4 that we knew so far. It was the original scout sent by the Void. It was imprisoned long before the 4 old gods arrived and formed the Black Empire. Eridicon wishes to use this creature as a weapon against the Titans on their arrival, but I do not know the details of this plan. I believe this will be the focal point of the first raid. Avalon has 5 zones. Kaz, Algar, and Uldaz were among them. There was a mention of a place called Ebonwood 2, but I'm not sure if this is an entire zone or a subzone. There is a heavy ethereal presence on Avalon. They are sided with Xal'atath. There's also been significant customization development on these models, which would suggest a potential playable race. There is also a heavy Naga presence on Avalon. They are sided with Ashara. There appears to be some competition between Xal'atath and Ashara into something known as the Twilight Sovereign. This has something to do with the Void's Throne of Power. We will get caught in the middle of this conflict, that's all I know. If I receive any of the details, I will post below. Edit. I forgot to mention, the old world is getting a facelift. It's a gradual rollout of modern assets, including buildings, trees, and so on. If you join the Tidesworn, you do not leave your current faction, but there is extensive group content specifically for Tidesworn players. There are no new classes. As far as I know, there are no new races being introduced, at least at launch. They're, however, focusing on more existing race customization. The controversy surrounding the controversy. This dude is like, oh yeah, there's so much controversy around my fake league. Yeah, the controversy surrounding the final Titan facility, jailing of the original old god, and the first arrival of the Titans will be explored during the leveling campaign. Basically, the Titans lied to us about the ordering of Azeroth. This has already been established in Retail. There's an entire chapter they left out, and with Blizz retconning again. It is my own personal belief. So he's speculating his own fake leak. Oh, this dude's like meta. This guy's, I love the effort here. I love it. It's my own personal belief that the Ethereal are being prepared as a playable race. I have no official knowledge of this. Naga will not be playable. The third faction is more narrative than anything. It will not have any impact on battlegrounds or PvP in general. As I mentioned above, which people generally ignored, it is not faction in the same sense as the Alliance and Horde. Well, buddy, then don't say you'll have a third faction introduced, even if you try to, pull it back in the same sense. Don't worry if this sounds lackluster. This is by far the largest expansion Blizzard has ever released. The information I have provided is barely the tip of the iceberg. Avalon itself is much larger than the 5 zones we're visiting in this expansion. The rest will be inaccessible, kind of like the Ogre content in WoD. Tel'abim will be a pivotal character during the expansion. Now, this comes off very plain and fairly convincing. This isn't bad as like, hey, here's the energy that I'm giving off. I'm just kind of like telling you what it is and kind of what's going on. This is what I know. This is what I don't know. Here, let me speculate on what's going on based on this fake thing that I'm presenting. So I think this is presented quite well compared to some of the other dribble that we had seen. There were a couple of problems that I saw here, like the whole thing with the Titan stuff. With the Hearthstone stuff. I'm not too convinced that Hearthstone related things end up being translated into the World of Warcraft, because that would very easily make it that would kind of paint Hearthstone as the looking glass into what's next for WoW, and so people will constantly be paying attention to that. Not even caring about the game itself, but they'll just be paying attention to that while speculating on WoW things. And I don't think they want to set that sort of precedent. So I don't exactly buy into that. The third faction, at first I was going to talk mad shit about it, but then now that it's being walked back as what is basically, it's nothing. To be honest, this just sounds like not even anything. It's just a faction. It's like, hey, do you want to gain renown with like these 4 factions in Dragonflight? From there, you'll get extra narrative, you get extra story and quests and cosmetics, and like that's it. So this seems like it feels like this person wanted to kick off an idea of having a third faction, saw that people were just saying, hey, this is dumb, this is stupid, and then he's like, no, it's not like that, it's more like this instead. But then it just turns out to be even less than nothing, because it's like, oh, you're just introducing a faction, because that's really all it is. Yeah, I don't know the benefits, but I know that it'll involve story arcs, cosmetics, mounts, and other stuff. But then now this person knows. It's hella funny. It's like he's getting mad. It's like he got mad from people's reaction. As I mentioned above, which people generally ignored, it is not faction in the same sense as the Alliance and Horde. So yeah, it don't worry if it sounds lackluster. Yeah, it doesn't sound like much. But again, the presentation here is very, very plausible. So this isn't bad. I don't think this is, I think it's fake as hell, but I think this was very well presented. Well done. Well done, fake leaker. It's funny, he's even including things to like diss with Blizzard. The whole thing about, the old god scouts, that does sound kind of plausible. That does sound fairly convincing. What else was there? There was that was about it. Yeah, this one's not bad. It's okay. Lots of obsession with Avalorn though. But I can see where it comes from. All right, from ThrillisCon, ThrillisCon 2024. World of Warcraft 2 leak. World of Warcraft version 11.0, tentatively named World of Warcraft 2. I'm going to read through, and then I'm going to talk smack. Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor revamp are the main focus, with each continent roughly twice the old size. Dude, those continents are already hella big. The old capitals are being remade. The level cap is increased to 80, but there's a stat squish. Plausible. Eastern Kingdom story is about regrowth and rebuilding and reclaiming the lost faction capital. Regrowth is no kidding, it's fucking doubling. The Plague Lands is mostly cleansed. You help the Argents remove scourge warlords from Stratholme. Gnomes abandoned Gnomeregan. The dungeon is now refreshed. New capital built already near Ironforge. Anduin returns, but the adherents of Lothar object to his leadership. Eastern Kingdom dungeons. The old ones are completely remade to account for the increased scale of continents. Scarlet Monastery is a mega dungeon at launch. Zulaman is an open world dungeon. There's Gnomeregan, there's Airy Peak, Shadowfang Keep, Leper Camp. That sounds like a very pathetic sounding dungeon. Stratholme Catacombs, Naxamar, and Atal Hakar. The Kalimdor story is about the Grim Totems, the Twilight's Hammer, and so on, and also the mongrel horde of centaurs, Quillbor, gnolls, murlocs, and raptors. Raptors. Really? So wait. Okay, mongrel horde. Whatever. Blah, 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 mongrel horde, who have united after their tribes are near extinction during Classic and Cataclysm. Centaurs defect and join players to destroy the Grim Totem tribe once and for all. Odd happenings in the Titanic zones. So, the Kalimdor dungeons include the Husk of Darnassus. That's going to go off as very well. Agamagar, Dark Cloud Pinnacle, the Razorfen, Naj Iri, shouldn't be Nas Jiri, but that sounds so much better. And then Camp Musha, kind of like Leopard Camp, another pathetic sounding dungeon. New class Necromancer with 3 specs: a Bone Mender, who is a healer, a Flesh Tender, who is a support, and a Lich, which is DPS. No sign of what the armor type is. The first raid tier is Hall. We return to Halls of Origination, finally end Iridicon's threat, and discover his allies. This sounds plausible. Because Halls of Origination, that had the whole, hey, let's reset Azeroth, blah blah blah. So it's kind of a beacon. Okay, so for real, you're gonna double the size of the vanilla zones, the entire continents. Doubt, no way, dude. That's way too involving. Never mind what some people would say about, yeah, but then the dragon riding thing was just, no, they could always redo that. That's not a big deal to me. Just the sheer principle of, hey, we're gonna double the zones. That's going to mean not just doubling the zones, but pretty much wiping out all of you're pretty much wiping out the entire planet again. It's Cataclysm, but on an even grander scale. I can't imagine how this would work without like massive tech to be like, hey, I want to be able to go back in time to like the earlier version of this zone when it was only half as big. That's wild. I mean, I know dragon riding is going to affect the feel of the vanilla zones, but I don't think that the world needs to necessarily change for dragon riding. That doesn't come off very, very great. So kind of like a lot of progression of the world, updating the world, but then with some conflict and not much else to go with. This whole premise, though, does not seem to match the class being introduced. Introducing a necromancer now without much of a story premise as to why that's being done, that doesn't make it for a very convincing sell, in my opinion. That doesn't seem to be like much of a thing. Chat's pointing out, I'm pretty sure that there are no gnolls on Kalimdor, which may be true. I'm not quite sure, like, what other races or whatnot or creatures, species appear on Kalimdor that wouldn't exactly be part of this mongrel horde. And last I checked, Quillbor talk. Raptors. That seems random. Are there talking raptors? not that I know of. What other mobs were put to near extinction during Classic and Cataclysm? The pigs. I say Furbolg should be part of that, but I don't know. Yeah, this one's just kind of a meh. Not very convincing, except for Halls of Origination being a raid, because that's a big zone. You gotta remember that zone, guys. That was a big spot, and if they were to like revamp it and add some more stuff to it, I can see that becoming a raid. Like it'll include a big part of the original dungeon, but then there's like a big hole in it, and then you can go and explore more of it. I can see that. This one's all right. And now we have World of Warcraft Chronicles of the Void. This guy is not a new poster either, from KSM 899. All right, premise. In Chronicles of the Void, a new and mysterious cosmic threat emerges from the far reaches of the universe, threatening to consume all of Azeroth and beyond. The Void Lords have unleashed their ultimate creation, a colossal entity known as the Eclipse Devourer, whose insatiable hunger devours entire worlds, leaving only void-tainted wastelands in its wake. The denizens of Azeroth must unite and traverse the realms beyond to find the means to stop this ancient and malevolent force. So I guess like the old gods are like, nah, that was like nothing. Yeah. Let's send old gods to devour. It's not working out. Let's just make this Eclipse Devourer thing. Okay. Features: cosmic exploration. Players will venture beyond Azeroth into new realms and dimensions, each with its own unique challenges, races, and cultures. They'll navigate through ethereal landscapes, shattered worlds, and cosmic anomalies, forging alliances with otherworldly beings and learning to harness the powers of the cosmos. An Eclipse system, a new gameplay mechanic involving the Eclipse Devourer's consumption of worlds. Certain regions will be marked for destruction, leading to dynamic events and quests where players must race against time to gather resources, evacuate inhabitants, or find ways to weaken the Devourer's hold on the affected realm. Players' actions will influence the outcome of these events and the overall state of the world. So, but then we're going to other worlds. We're not, this isn't Azeroth that's being affected directly. It's these worlds we're talking about. Okay. Cosmic affinities. Characters will be able to align with cosmic forces, such as the Light, Void, Arcane, and Nature. These affinities will grant unique abilities, talents, and customization options, allowing for deeper roleplaying and strategic choices. Right. Allied factions. New alien races and factions will emerge as allies or enemies, contributing to the ongoing war against the Eclipse Devourer. Players can form alliances, unlock allied races, and participate in faction-specific storylines or quests. And Void Forge artifacts, introducing a new artifact system. Where players can harness the power of the Void to enhance their weapons and armor. These Void Forge artifacts can be customized with different Void-themed abilities and effects, allowing for diverse playstyles. A very purple expansion. I mean, it is called Chronicles of the Void, so. And then the areas, only 5? Oh, I guess 5 zones, but this Eclipse system is supposed to be different. Okay. Luminari Nexus, a realm bathed in perpetual light, home to the Luminari, an ancient and enigmatic race that wields the powers of the cosmos. Not just the light, but the freaking cosmos. Players will uncover the secrets of Luminari and their connection to the unfolding cosmic crisis. Then there's the Voidheart Enclave, a shattered world tainted by the void, where desperate survivors have formed a refuge within the cracks of reality. Well, I like the wording on that. Players must help fortify the Enclave, cleanse its lands, and harness the latent void energies to aid in the fight against the Eclipse Devourer. I think this person just really liked the name. They're like having a couple drinks, a smoke. They're like, dude, it'd be dope. An Eclipse Devourer. And then their friends are like, so what's an Eclipse Devourer? An eclipse is just, the moon in front of the sun. Whatever, man. It's like eating shadows, bruh. Anyway. Astral Heim, an astral plane that serves as a crossroads for cosmic energies, inhabited by celestial beings and astral constructs. Players will engage in a struggle to stabilize this realm and tap into its vast arcane knowledge. The Umbral Expanse, a realm of shifting shadows and eldritch horrors inhabited by the Shadebound, a race torn between the light and the darkness. All disc priests. Players must navigate the intricate politics of this realm by confronting the terror of the Void Lords. And then finally, the Cosmic Nexus, the heart of the Eclipse Devourer's power, a fractured space that serves as a gateway to all other realities. The final confrontation with the Devourer awaits here as players rally to prevent the unraveling of all of existence. Oh, so is this not... Are you kidding me? No. Generated by ChatGPT. I asked it to generate based on past leaks on... Criminal, dude. That's a crime. Don't do that. Don't do this, leaker people. So I was very brave. We're moving on, by the way. I was very brave and I looked into 4chan. And I found 3 other things. 3 other things. Okay. First off comes Chronicles of Azeroth. Story overview. The old developers of World of Warcraft return? Do we really want all of them to return? Did people not pay attention to what Mark Kern was saying about a title screen, and they want to bring someone maybe like him back for something like this? I don't know. That's a great idea. But okay, the old developers of World of Warcraft return with Chronicles of Azeroth, an expansion that focuses on revisiting and revitalizing the rich history and lore of the game. This expansion takes players on a journey through time, allowing them to experience key moments from Azeroth's past, confront forgotten enemies, and reshape the future. Ew. Key features include the classic zones remastered. Iconic zones from the early days of Azeroth are remastered using the latest technology, providing a fresh and immersive experience for both new and returning players. A time travel mechanic. Players can use ancient artifacts to travel through time and visit pivotal moments in Azeroth's history, participating in events that shaped the world. These time travel instances are dynamic and replayable, allowing players to make choices that affect the outcome. That's kind of cool. Revived raids and dungeons. Classic raids and dungeons are reimagined with modern mechanics and challenges, offering new rewards and updated encounters for... Just say Mythic Plus. All right, just say they're Mythic Plus in it, okay? Epic class quest lines. Each class receives unique quest lines that delve into their history, uncovering forgotten powers and secrets that enhance their abilities. I'll comment on that later. Legendary weapons. Players can forge legendary weapons tied to Azeroth's greatest heroes, each with its own questline and customizable traits. A new class, the Tinker... Oh, this is dead. This is a dead leak. So it's not... Not to say that it's not happening, but it just feels... Hey guys, time travel expansion. Tinker class. Of course. Anyway, the Tinker class combines engineering and alchemical prowess, allowing players to create and customize mechanical companions and gadgets. And then we'll have Legacy Battlegrounds. Classic Battlegrounds are updated with modern design principles while retaining the nostalgic elements that made them beloved. Azeroth Exploration. New zones are added, offering players the chance to discover uncharted territories and hidden lore. Well, that's just new zones, buddy. And then Oh, this is real. Yes, real expansion. Here we go. Player housing system. Players can acquire and customize their own homes in various locations across Azeroth, showcasing their achievements and personal style. Now, going back, no way. I don't see this as a thing. The one interesting thing, I do like this time travel mechanic where you go into like let's say you go into an instance, or you go into like this, like let's pretend it's kind of like a horrific vision. That's a terrible example. But let's say you go into like this small instanced area where there's like things happening, and then it's your objective to like get to the end. But then as you play through repeated times, kind of like what is it called? Deaths of Chromie. As you play through, you gain knowledge, you gain experience, you gain levels, you gain talents or something that lets you, when you replay it again, you can play it in a slightly different way, unlock new stuff, create a new path for yourself, and maybe have a good time. I enjoy that sort of gameplay where things evolved the more you replay, the more you replay it. But a kind of a double-edged sword. It does get old, especially in the context of an MMO that's going to be around for 2 years. Can you do that same thing for 2 years? Short answer is no. You don't really do that. Remastering the classic zones, that'd be nice, but I feel like it's something it's really hard to do unless it involves like the entire expansion, and this leak didn't even give us like much of a story or anything like that. As to what's happening or why. A lot of this does feel like it baits on the nostalgia of players. And then frankly, that's what I think that 11.0 is going to be. It's going to do something about this next expansion is going to rely a lot on nostalgia. 30 years of Warcraft, 20 years of WoW. It's going to pull at us somehow, some way. But as for all these things, I'm not sure. Epic class quest lines, I think that'd be great. Things that eventually enhance their abilities, that just kind of feels like, oh, well, those are things that we're all eventually going to get no matter what. Doing legendary weapons again, I'm not so sure. I'm not so convinced of that happening again. Legacy Battlegrounds give me the biggest doubt too, because like, don't tell me they're going to do like a whole revamp of like Alterac Valley and all the other like epic battlegrounds. I doubt we're going to see that scale of update being done for everything. That feels like too big of a scope. Moving on to the next one. Chris Metzen to announce Classic plus. Okay. I thought this was gonna be like modern stuff, but oh well. I pulled this off of 4chan, so here we go. Product tile, World of Warcraft, The New Frontier, an original expansion pack for World of Warcraft Classic. $40 for the base version, $70 for a special Pioneer Edition, which includes early access. Level cap is 70. So you have playable High Elves, Naga, Tuskar, and Amani Trolls. Why are the Tuskar in Classic Plus? Right? Because I'm going to assume with a level cap of 70 that we're going, not Outland, but we're seeing new stuff. But okay. The trade-off is that some gear has no cosmetic, appears as in Naga have a feat slot and can equip gear for stats, but will not appear on the player model. High Elves have a hero opening, beginning with a refugee caravan escaping the Scourge, followed by a time skip. Eastern Kingdom's map is completely changed, sort of. All we know is that actually is just the western half of the continent from Eastern Plaguelands to Swamp of Sorrows. There's another... From Eastern Plaguelands all the way down to Swamp of Sorrows, there's another 60 to 70 smaller land masses separated by a channel like Ireland and the UK. So it's just like they just added land across one side of the whole continent. It includes the High Elf and Amani starting zones. Twilight Highlands revamp is included as leveling for zone for 40 to 50. New dungeons added for 30 to 60 leveling content, along with a new quest to pet out zones such as Desolate Badlands and Blasted Lands and Fairless. It is not all 100% new content, but it's using assets from Cataclysm and Battle for Azeroth, for example, to allow for a lot of content without a lot of asset creation. Well thought out, leaker. Two new race class combos, some familiar such as Troll Warlock, others like Human Shaman are new. Doesn't even mention well, I guess they mentioned Paladin, but not or they mentioned Shaman, but not Paladin. It's weird. 2 new capital cities with Gilneas for the Alliance, a half-sunken highborn ruin reclaimed by the Naga in the new landmass for the Horde. That's sorry. I gotta. This is comical because it's like, okay, we have 2 new capital cities for Classic Plus. The Alliance get Gilneas, this kingdom with blah blah blah. What do the Horde get? They get like just some whack ass ruin. There you go for the Horde. I just find that hella funny. Raids are gonna be smaller and intended to be more often with like 10 men with 10 men with 7 bosses 4 to 5 times per expansion. Okay, so this is going to be like an ongoing thing. Southwest Stormwind player housing light. Basically the Pandaria farm. An instance in Stormwind takes you to a small clearing in the forest. You do weekly quests to improve and expand, can invite other players and put up trophies from the new 60 to 70 experience. But no Horde. Fuck the Horde though, right? No transmog, no LFR, no looking for dungeon thing or boosts. So when did this come out? This came out just the other day, but we've just announced. I think it was just the other day, actually. I think it was just the other day where they announced the looking for dungeon thing for Classic. I'm sorry, for Wrath Classic. So this kind of falls over. Sorry, buddy. And having no boost is just a silly idea. As much as people stand by the principle, like whatever. However, Reforging and Jewel crafting sockets are back in an earlier state than they were before they became redundant and removed. See, I don't get it. This guy is saying Classic Plus, but like, which kind of Classic Plus? Is it Vanilla Classic Plus? Is it TBC Classic Plus? Is it Wrath or what? So Reforging is back, but Reforging wasn't even a thing until like Cataclysm anyway. There's no archaeology. A new secondary profession called forestry replaces it. Why is there another? why are you telling us that there's a new profession, but you're not explaining like what it is? Unless it counts for this player housing light, which apparently is just for Stormwind players. This one's whack, dude. The new frontier. Wait, it's not even a new frontier. Okay, so there's gonna be like stuff added to Eastern Kingdoms. Okay, so there's that kind of, but it's not exactly new because we're talking about Twilight Highlands. We're just adding stuff that's already been there, and then you're making player housing in Stormwind. Not exactly a new frontier, Chris. So, and we have one more to go. We're almost free. WoW X Pack leak, Shores of Tel'abim, and this is from 10 days ago. Let's see how this one turns out. Overview. In the latest World of Warcraft expansion, Shores of Tel'abim, players will embark on a tropical adventure to the mysterious and enchanting island of Tel'abim. Known for its lush jungles, pristine beaches, and vibrant wildlife, Tel'abim holds secrets, of course, challenges, and treasures waiting to be discovered by both the Horde and Alliance. Key features: got a new continent. The expansion introduced the new continent of Tel'abim Island. Island, filled with diverse zones ranging from dense jungles to serene beaches. Faction capitals, the Alliance outpost, and Horde encampments. Those are great names. The Alliance establishes an outpost on the tranquil beaches of Tel'abim, while the Horde sets up an encampment deep within the island's jungles. Storyline: unveiling ancient mysteries. A powerful artifact hidden within Tel'abim has caught the attention of both the Horde and Alliance. As tensions rise... Why are tensions rising? Players from both factions must work... Wait. Okay, I feel like I'm being taken on such a roller coaster right now. It's caught the attention of both the Horde and the Alliance. As tensions rise, players from both factions must work together to uncover the island's history, battle ancient guardians, and prevent the artifact from falling into the wrong hands. So why even have conflict? Allied factions: Spirits of Tel'abim, ancient beings tied to the island's magic and guardians of its secrets. By completing quests and challenges, players gain access to unique abilities and cosmetic rewards. Water magic. Tel'abim's water-based magic allows players to manipulate water elements and interact with the environment in innovative ways. Solve puzzles, traverse obstacles, and unlock hidden areas using the power of water. New dungeons and raids. Explore captivating dungeons and face challenging bosses that draw inspirations from the island's flora, fauna, and ancient ruins. Uncover the mysteries within the heart of the island raid, where players can confront the entities seeking to wield the artifact's immense power. And player housing. Yeah! Tropical retreats. Introduce a player housing system where players can build their own tropical retreats on Tel'abim, showcasing their achievements, treasures, and personal style. Thank goodness they at least mentioned player housing, because otherwise I'd be like, I don't know. I think this leaker's like only thing was like just trying to introduce story. It's like they encounter a new land, but for whatever reason, Horde and Alliance are showing up separately, and I guess tensions are rising somehow, but they don't really, because players from both factions must work together to uncover blah 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 and take down that entity seeking to wield the artifact's immense power. That one wasn't so great. I think what I enjoyed, it was I did enjoy like some of these. I think it was this one. I think this one was like my favorite out of them, because this person would like put like effort. They put effort, but they also kind of like tripped over themselves, and they ended up defending things a bit too hard. It comes off with the energy of, no, man, this is a really good idea. This is like really plausible. It's really feasible, so having to update it didn't quite sell. But this one turned out to be my favorite out of all. I think this was the best presented one, and they shouldn't. And if people were like talking smack on the replies, just take it. Not a big deal. Because otherwise, this would have been fairly plausible. Ultimately fake, but quite plausible. So what was your guys' favorite? Probably maybe none of them. But let me know what your favorite one is. Oh, and of course, if you have any news of other leaks that are out there somewhere on the wilds of the internet, let me know. I will archive it. I'll sit on it and wait until I can do like another nice big dump for a future leak season episode. Of course, if you don't mind, like the video, subscribe for more content. Catch me live, and I'll catch you guys later. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.